A warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najma Luima, but first are the headlines. COVID relief cash are finally released. Government cuts budgets for ministries. Africa's ex-leader turns himself in for prison term. And in sports, URA expressed interest in free agent Oben Chana. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. Geoffrey Oloya, a border rider from Gulu, on Thursday morning became the first beneficiary of the government COVID relief cash to vulnerable people. Government recently identified 16 groups of people from cities and municipalities in various parts of the country to receive the shillings 100,000 to be given to each person as COVID relief after being affected by the lockdown. Nalugo has more.
On Thursday morning, the Prime Minister of Uganda, Right Honorable Robin Nabbanja, officiated the launch of the disbursement exercise for the funds. The Prime Minister randomly sampled over 5 other beneficiaries whose COVID relief cash had been sent to their Airtel or MTN mobile money accounts as part of the launch of the exercise. However, a number of them had their phones switched off, whereas for others, because of network problems, could not be reached. Speaking at the function held at the office of the Prime Minister in Kampala, Nabbanja, who was flanked by fellow ministers on the National Task Force, says she hopes the exercise will move smoothly. The Prime Minister, however, warned that government will later declare when the exercise will be closed. The Ministry of Gender on Wednesday said that whereas some areas are still undertaking validation of the lists, for those that have submitted to the ministry, the beneficiaries will receive their relief starting today. Government named bus and taxi drivers plus conductors, baggage carriers, touts, wheelbarrow pushers, traffic guides and loaders in taxi and bus parks, stages and other areas in Chikubo. Amongst beneficiaries of COVID relief cash include barmen, DJs, barmaids, waiters, waitresses and bouncers, gym and restaurant workers, food vendors in taxi, bus parks and arcades, musicians, comedians, producers, promoters, salon and massage parlor employees, teachers and support staff in both government and private schools but are not on payroll, car washers, slum dwellers, street vendors, shoe shiners, orphans and vulnerable children. Over 500,000 households are targeted in this exercise.
Away from that, the government has cut the budgets for ministries, departments and agencies by up to 40% due to worsening effects of COVID-19 pandemic on the economy and projected revenue underperformance of shillings 2 trillion. Kachanchu has more on this story.
According to a July 2nd circular from the Finance Ministry to allow all accounting officers, the budget cuts will also allow the government to generate emergency financing totaling 600 billion shillings for COVID-19 response. While addressing journalists at the ministry headquarters yesterday, Mr. Patrick Okailap, the acting secretary to the Treasury, said the government has also decided to freeze travel, workshops and seminars to cut costs. According to the financial year 2021-2022 budget circular, accounting officers are not expected to warrant any funds against these items and during the first quarter. Although this will likely affect the work plans of the MDAs, Mr. Okailap said in the circular that expenditure limits have accorded protection to salaries, pension and gratuity. Part of the 600 billion shillings, 371.7 billion shillings will finance COVID-19 emergency response, but the balance will be kept in the constituency fund for future release and related activities, according to the ministry. Mr. Okailap explained that all MDAs are affected by the budget cuts. A renewal by this reporter indicates the health and social protection sector, security and presidency, and the agriculture sector only suffered cuts in budgets for travel and workshops. Mulago National Referral Hospital, the biggest COVID-19 treatment center in the country, suffered a 0.1% budget cut. This is 40 million shillings against the 39.7 billion shillings for non-wage and development.
Moving on, a Uganda government has allowed a private security firm to carry out security patrols on a national road, a role previously the preserve of the state. Nahabwe has more.
Uganda National Roads Authority hired Pinnacle Security Limited to patrol 26.2 kilometers of the Entebbe Expressway. Entebbe Expressway, which was constructed to decongest Entebbe Road, will be used by motorists after paying. The road toll operations are yet to start. The police spokesperson, Mr. Fred Enanga, confirmed the development and said Pinnacle Security role in this case is narrowed down to patrols, but firefighting and ambulance services are not permitted. However, they can subcontract licensed firefighting and ambulance services from authorized companies or entities. The statutory law allows private security organizations to carry out patrols to prevent crime. The Roads Authority, UNRA, also promised to replace the fences on the expressway that were vandalized and also improve the drainage system to avoid water puddles.
Let's take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. A senior representative of the government of Democratic Republic of Congo, Claude Aibalanki Ekolomba, declared that rebel groups and terrorist forces are in disarray and would soon be neutralized across East Africa. We have more.
Ekolomba said this while at the fourth meeting of heads of intelligence and security services of the DR Congo, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, and Tanzania in Bujumbura, centered on the theme confidence building towards enhanced regional cooperation to neutralize negative forces. Referring to the recent terrorist attacks on Catholic churches in the Democratic Republic of Congo, he said that the Islamic State wants to settle in the region, hence the need for a coalition to confront it. The meeting also had in attendance representatives of the Secretary General of the United Nations in the Great Lakes region, a delegate from MONUSCO and the African Union. In June, Commander of U.S. Forces in Africa, General Stephen Townsend, told a virtual defense forum that the spread of terrorism has continued relatively unabated. Somalia-based Al-Shabaab alone boasts as many as 10,000 fighters in the region.
Zambia held a church service on Wednesday as it prepared to bury its founding president, Kenneth Kaunda, who died last month. The ceremony at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross in the capital, Lusaka, was attended by President Edgar Lungu and former head of state, Rupiah Banda. Let's take a look.
The High Court in Lusaka dismissed a late application filed by the family challenging Kaunda's burial at a site reserved for former presidents. According to Judge Wilfred Copper, Muma's ruling, the late Dr. Kenneth Kaunda was not an ordinary person to be buried at his private residence as he wished. The hero of the struggle against white rule in Southern Africa, who died on June 17th, and a state memorial was held last week at the city's 60,000-seat National Heroes Stadium. President Lungu declared April 28th a public holiday in honor of Kaunda, who died at a military hospital in June after being admitted with pneumonia.
Moving on, the former president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, has decided to comply with the incarceration order and handed himself into correctional services facility in KwaZulu-Natal province, according to a tweet posted by Zuma Foundation.
Zuma, 79, was ordered to prison for contempt because he denied a court order for him to testify before a judicial commission investigating widespread allegations of corruption during his time as the country's president from 2009 to 2018. The Constitutional Court ordered that if Zuma did not voluntarily hand himself over to the police, then the police should arrest the country's former president by the end of the day Wednesday. In a last-minute plea to avoid going to prison, Zuma's lawyer had written to the acting Chief Justice requesting that his arrest be suspended until Friday, when a regional court is to rule on his application to postpone the arrest. Zuma's lawyers asked the acting Chief Justice to issue directives stopping the police from arresting him, claiming there would be a prejudice to his life.
Away from that, just hours after the assassination of President Jovenel Moise by unknown gunmen at his private residence in Pereira, Haiti Prime Minister Claude Joseph, who is now in charge of the country and has imposed a martial law, has announced that the country is under a state of siege with its borders and main airport closed.
Haiti Prime Minister Claude Joseph said that he had just chaired an extraordinary council of ministers meeting and they have decided to declare a state of siege throughout the country. The announcement brings into force the question of Prime Minister's legitimacy after the assassinated president had dismissed Claude Joseph and was due to install Ariel Henry as Prime Minister on Wednesday. Analysts say that interim president should be the Chief Justice according to the Haitian constitution, but the Chief Justice died of COVID-19 in June. Moises' wife, Martin, the First Lady, was injured in the attack and taken to a hospital for treatment. Her husband was elected in late 2016 and has been ruling by decree for more than a year. The killing comes as an explosive climax to a period of political instability and division and a rise in gang violence across the Caribbean country of 11 million inhabitants.
Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. Once again, you're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, Egyptian authorities announced the release of Ever Given, a hulking shipping vessel that had blocked the Suez Canal for nearly a week earlier this year after reaching a settlement whose details and terms have not been revealed.
Wednesday's release came a day after an Egyptian court lifted the judicial seizure of the vessel following the Suez Canal Authority's notification that it reached a settlement with the vessel's owners and insurers. According to Osama Rabbi, head of Suez Canal Authority, an agreement has been reached that achieves justice and the interests of both parties and provides clear evidence of the Suez Canal Authority's commitment to ensuring all its partners from all over the world while fully preserving its rights. The development came after its Japanese owners, Shui Kisen Kaisha Limited, reached a settlement with canal authorities over a compensation amount following weeks of negotiations and a court standoff. At first, the Suez Canal Authority had demanded $916 million in compensation, which was later lowered to $550 million. The money, according to canal authorities, would cover the salvage operation, costs of stalled canal traffic, and lost transit fees for the 6 days of the Ever Given had blocked the crucial waterway.
In our health news today, dozens of angry protesters clashed with police in the Kenyan capital of Nairobi on Wednesday as they demanded an end to a lockdown and curfew put in place to combat the spread of coronavirus. Demonstrators also called for an end to what they say has been police brutality in the country, particularly towards young people. We have more.
Kenyan authorities have currently imposed a nationwide curfew from 11 local time until at least July 27th as part of its restrictions to combat COVID-19. Internal travel to parts of Western Kenya has also been banned until at least July 27th, while public gatherings are currently prohibited. Police responded to the demonstrations by shooting live bullets into the air and throwing tear gas. Officers also made several arrests. Jane Atieno, one of the protesters, said that they got involved in the demonstration to talk about their youths, the way they have been murdered and the way they are suffering.
In our sports news today, Uganda Revenue Authority have already started to beef up their squad ahead of continental football next season. The tax collectors who will represent Uganda in the CAF Confederation Cup are still out on the hunt for other new acquisitions to bolster their squad. Kachanchu has more.
Defender Philbert Obenchan is one of the players on the Uganda Revenue Authority's wish list, and a reliable source indicates that the two parties have started negotiation. Obenchan is a free agent after running down his contract at Kampala Capital City Council Authority Football Club, where he has played for the last 6 years. If signed, the robust defender is expected to join the formidable centre-back collection that has Benjamin Nyakojo, Hudu Mlichi, Geoffrey Waswa and Paul Mboa. The former KCCA FC player can also offer options in the right-back position where he often been deployed. Uganda Revenue Authority Football Club had also expressed interest in forward Jude Semugabi, but he opted to renew his contract at the Mbarara City FC. Bull FC duo of Simon Okech and Kenneth Semakula, plus left-footed winger Living Kabon of Onduparaka, are also on the Uganda Revenue Authority radar.
Now, before we end our news bulletin today, let's take a recap of our top story. COVID relief cash are finally released. Government cuts budgets for ministries. Africa's ex-leader turns himself in for prison term. And in sports, URA expressed interest in free agent Obenchan. That is the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.
This is Africa, and that was the news.